Good morning. Welcome to the United States Sports Academy and our weekly sports talk program. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Brett and Sarah for sitting in for me last week. I couldn't be here, and I think sometimes, we love to do this program, and we know a lot of folks out there like it, but we are first and foremost a university, and sometimes we got to do things to take care of our students, and our students will always come first. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about baseball. I have Dr. Brett Simmermacher with me, a former Division I baseball player and our chair of sports coaching, and our resident expert on college baseball, Sarah Weber, who's one of our wonderful teaching assistants. The Arizona Diamondbacks, Cleveland Indians, Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals, and San Francisco Giants today had their pitchers and catchers report. The first 5 teams, and every other team will report between today and the 21st of this month. So within the next 4 days, all the teams will have reported. I mentioned earlier, Sarah was our resident expert on college baseball, so she's going to give us a quick update on a couple of things she's working on. One of the reasons why college baseball is becoming more and more important, if you notice, last year, both most valuable players, Josh Donaldson for the American League and Bryce Harper for the National League, played college baseball. Joshua actually was working at Auburn when Josh was there. Josh was a catcher in college, and then about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I saw Josh play for the Sacramento River Cats in the Pacific Coast League as a AAA team for the Oakland A's, and he was still catching. They converted him to third base, called him up, traded him to the Blue Jays, and he's the most valuable player. So anyway, Sarah, what's going on in college baseball right now?
Well, as you know, in the draft last year, several of those picks were all college players as well, and shortstops. The #1 overall draft pick was Alex out of the LSU, excuse me, Alex Bregman out of LSU. No. Dansby Swanson, I'm sorry, was the #1 pick out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, we were all excited here because we thought Dansby Swanson, being as good as he was, and he did really well in the rookie league last year, they might bring him to Mobile in AA, but then the Diamondbacks traded him to the Braves. So we'll get to see him maybe if he goes AA this year. We'll get to see him maybe a couple times for the Mississippi Braves, but we won't get to see him 70 times like we would have if he was playing for Mobile.
And his old team, Vanderbilt, is preseason ranked 3 in all the polls. And Florida out of the SEC is preseason ranked #1. They finished the season last year just short of the championship playoffs in Omaha. They finished 3rd in the country, and they're preseason favorites. They returned a strong group. They had a lot of freshmen last year, including J.J. Schwartz, who hit many home runs.
Yeah, but last year was Virginia and Vanderbilt, right? For the second year in a row, they each won 1. Yeah,
Virginia is not the top pick in the ACC. Actually, that belongs to Louisville and Miami. Virginia is picked after them. And
Virginia came out of nowhere last year.
Yeah, they were pretty much one of the last teams into the tournament. And TCU is picked to repeat as Big 12 champion.
Did you see the new facility that they put up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to go online and look at that.
At TCU?
TCU. The best part about that was they kept it a secret from the players. The players weren't allowed to go in. And the day that it was complete, Schlossnagle took them in there, and they were in awe of all the things.
It's going to be special for them. Auburn has a new head coach, Butch Thompson, so that's about some of the highlights from the SEC. And in Division II, University of Tampa, the 2015 national champions, are looking to repeat in 2016. Right now they sit at #1 with an 8-1 record, and our compadres a little north of here, West Florida, is sitting at 8th in the country.
Cool. West Florida's going to have football next year for the first time.
Right. A schedule.
Yeah.
A true schedule.
True schedule.
They've been playing scrimmage games.
The kid that was the 7A Offensive Player of the Year in 2014. The quarterback, his name's Gray Jackson from Fairhope High School, and Fairhope went 12-0 before they lost in the playoffs, is going to be their quarterback.
And just one more teeny tiny thing.
Sure.
Another one of our local teams, South Alabama, they're looking to repeat. They were the Sun Belt champions last year, conference champions, not conference tournament champions. But they have their pitcher, Kevin Hill, is on the Golden Spikes Award watch list.
Cool. Their center fielder is really good too. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Kevin Hill's
return
good.
everybody from the infield except for third base.
Cool. Brett pitched at South Alabama, and they just announced Monday night. I saw it on the news where they're going to retire the number 3, former coach Steve Cottrell, and that'll be only the 3rd person ever to have his number retired at South Alabama. The first one was the legendary coach Eddie Stanky. If you don't know Eddie Stanky as a coach, maybe you remember in the movie 41, he was the one that threatened to beat the crap out of the Phillies manager when he used the N-word about 1,000 times in 30 seconds, yelling at Jackie Robinson. But Stanky was the coach at South for how many years?
He went there 72 and retired in 84.
So he's there for 13 years, and the only player that's ever had his number retired at South is Luis Gonzalez, former Major League star with the Arizona Diamondbacks. But if you go to the stadium at South, they got that one little place with all the names of all the players. A lot of big league players have gone through South Alabama. Well, as we said earlier, pitchers and catchers reported. We're not going to do predictions today. We'll do that a little bit closer to the start of the regular season after we see how some things play out in spring training. But what we usually do this time of year is we talk about some potential milestones and some things we'd like to see in the upcoming season. There's really, when you look at milestones and the possibilities with numbers right now in Major League Baseball from a hitter's perspective, it's Alex Rodriguez and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at at the list of active leaders, it's almost all of them. Alex Rodriguez is on top. The one that's really going to be big for A-Rod this year is he enters the season with 687 home runs, and right now he's 4th, and he's only 27 behind the Magic. You know, when we were growing up, 714 was the Magic number. Some people probably today, if you ask them, they can't tell you how many home runs Barry Bonds has. We know it's 762 because we're baseball junkies, but a lot of people don't know that number. Some people don't even know Hank Aaron's number. It's 755, but everybody knows 714.
Right.
And when we were growing up, that was the number, 714, until Aaron broke that record.
I remember the pitcher. He gave up a home run to Henry Aaron.
Yeah. And I remember, and Tom House was in the bullpen, and someone that caught it for the Braves. But A-Rod had 687, and of course, his next milestone will be 700. And then after that, Babe Ruth at 714. I do not think he'll catch Aaron or Bonds this year. Albert Pujols is another one with 560 home runs. And last year, believe it or not, last year he hit exactly 40. So if he hits 40 again this year, he'll be at 600.
Being good company.
Yeah. Some of the other ones, the runs scored, Pujols has 1599. So obviously he's going to get to 1600. Carlos Beltran, a name you don't hear very often, is when you talk about all-time greats, is next among active players at 1449. If Pujols scores 100 runs this year, he'll move from 49th on the all-time list to 27th.
Wow.
With some pretty respected company. One that I think is interesting is Ichiro has 2,935 hits, and he's averaged 195 hits for his career. If he gets 100 hits this year, he'll move up from 33rd where he is right now to 20th place all time. One of the things about Ichiro is that he also had 1,278 hits in Japan. In Japan Major League. So if you combine those two, he's actually already passed Pete Rose and Ty Cobb in all-time hits. And I think 65 hits is pretty much a lot for him this year. Another interesting fact, Sarah and I talked about this morning. Ichiro's new hitting coach is Barry Bonds.
Nah.
And Barry Bonds retired with 2,935 hits. So right now, him and Ichiro are tied for 33rd place all time in hits. One of the things that I asked these guys to think about is what they would like to see. One of the things I'd like to see this year, I'd really like to see Ichiro get his 3,000s hit, and one of the things I'd like to see is I'd like to see Alex Rodriguez hit about 75 home runs get tested for drugs about 40 times and pass all those tests, so everybody can shut up about performance-enhancing drugs. What's a couple of things that you'd like to see happen this year, Brett?
Number one, I want to see if the Cubs are for real. If last year was a fluke or not. And they made some key acquisitions in the offseason with Hayward and Zobrist and Lackey. I think they're going to be better. I'd like to see them win it all, just to get the curse off of their back. The other one is I want to see what Josh Donaldson does. Follow up his MVP season. He's a local guy, Faith Academy, then went to Auburn. It'll be interesting to see if he can continue.
One of the really cool things about Josh Donaldson, last week before he went out to play in the AT&T Pro Am. I saw him on television at Pebble Beach. But before he went out there to play, he made a stop here. As Brett mentioned, he is from Mobile, and he donated $50,000 to Faith Academy, his high school, to build a new training facility for the players. That's pretty cool when players come back to their roots and do things like that.
It's always nice.
How about you, Sarah? What would you like to see happen this year?
I'd like to see the Mets repeat as National League champions.
Okay.
I
Typical
think
New Yorker speaking over there.
They got them four young big arms coming back.
yeah, they have their same rotation intact, coming back. They lost Daniel Murphy, but they replaced him with Neil Walker. Their lineup is pretty similar to what they had last year, so I'd like them to do what Kansas City did the last 2 years. Kansas City made it to the World Series, lost that first year, came back again, and won the next year. So I'm hoping the Mets made it to the World Series last year, they make it this year, and they win it all this year.
Okay, so you got a couple of National League people here. One of the interesting things, we took a look. USA Today came out just yesterday with their forecast. They picked the number of wins that they think each team will have, and they think the Cubs are going to be the best team in baseball. They're the only team they picked to win over 100 games at 101, and they according to their predictions, the Mets don't even make the playoffs, which I know would be disappointing to you. But we know how accurate preseason predictions like this can be. And really, when you think about it, it's pretty much a lock that the Giants are going to win the World Series this year, because it's an even number year. They won it in 2010, they won it in 2012, and they won it in 2014. So obviously, since it's an even year, they'll win it again this year. And I was really surprised to see go across the bottom of the screen a couple of days ago on ESPN under news, where they said the Giants announced that Madison Bumgarner was going to be their opening day starter.
Surprise!
Yeah, big shock there. But they did pick up Johnny Cueto and Jeff Samardzija to help that pitching staff. And if Kane comes back from his injury and a couple of those guys that helped pitch him to the World Championship a couple of years ago, then maybe they'll be competitive again.
Something else that I think is going to be interesting is how the Dusty Baker hire will change the dynamics of the Nationals. I've always liked the way Baker manages. I think he's going to make them a lot better club too. Yeah,
I agree. Even some of the players are already talking about how much better the atmosphere is, and they haven't even reported yet. Just from talking to Dusty, and Dusty's always been one of those guys that's been known as a quote-unquote players manager. And it's kind of interesting. We've talked about this in other sports also, but it seems like always when you have a guy like Matt Williams, who's known as a very strict disciplinarian, when they replace somebody like that, they almost always go to a players manager. And if Dusty somehow, I agree with you, I think Dusty's going to do really well. But if he doesn't do really well, when they replace a players manager, they always do it with the disciplinarian type. So that'll be interesting. Another milestone that A-Rod is moving up the list on is RBIs. Right now he has 2,055, and he's only 20 out of third place all time. And of course,
I think it's safe to say he'll get that.
Yeah, and plus, the first and second are Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth. And
pretty good company.
Anytime you're on a list of three with Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth, it's probably not a bad list to be on. One of the things that was interesting, I looked at ERA and batting average to see if there was any, the leading hitter batting average right now is Miguel Cabrera at 321. But if you look at, he's like 111th on the list or something. There's, back in the old days, those guys always hit 350, 360. Yeah. Ty Cobb leads with 367 career average. But in ERA, Clayton Kershaw is the leader, and he's at 2.43. But again, there's a whole bunch of people in front of him. He's like, he's 33rd all time. Well, what I found really interesting, guess who was 17th all time in career ERA?
Who?
Take a guess. Take a guess.
Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he's right. It's Babe Ruth. People forget about how great of a pitcher Babe Ruth was. With a minimum of 1,000 innings pitched, he is still has the 17th lowest ERA in the history of baseball. Another one that we don't think about a lot is saves. Francisco Rodriguez has 386 and Joe Nason has 377. Right now, they're 7th and 8th on the all-time list.
Wow.
And if they both have 40 saves this year, which is certainly possible for those two guys, they'll finish the season 4th and 5th in career saves.
We like Joe Nathan. You know why?
Why?
Because he played at Stony Brook University
Stony
on
Brook.
Long Island.
And he's both of those guys are have potential to have big save numbers because they've both done it in the past. Of course, the all-time leader is pretty far out there with Mariano Rivera. Well, pitchers and catchers report today. When we were growing up, were like magic words. That means that baseball is just around the corner. Daytona 500 is this Saturday, so NASCAR's back in swing. So everything's right with the world.
D1 season starts this weekend.
That's right. A few years ago they changed the rules, and they schools used to start much earlier.
Right.
And,
D2.
Yeah, but they thought the teams in the South were at a strict advantage.
Yeah.
I remember one year when I was a season ticket holder when I was working at Auburn. I went to all the baseball games, and they were playing Hofstra, which is near and dear to Sarah's heart. But there was an article in the paper, and Hofstra arrived on Wednesday. They were playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When they practiced on Thursday, that was the first time all year they practiced outdoors. So so they moved it back. I'll tell you, man, some of them like February 6th games at Auburn, I froze my butt off.
Speaking of that, did you see the new deal at Michigan?
No.
A former graduate of theirs developed heated infield.
Oh, yeah, I read that.
No, I didn't see that.
They've been using it. It snowed up there a couple of times.
Michigan and Michigan State have
Yeah.
been using it.
It's Michigan
Heated
State.
fields.
Yeah, heated.
Infield.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they can do today. The Braves are moving out of Turner Field,
Mhm.
but that field, the way it was designed, could take 1 inch of rain an hour and the field never get wet. I mean, it was wet, but never get unplayable.
Right.
So because of the drainage system is so good. And I hadn't heard about the heat, but that's pretty cool. Well, we're out of time today. We're excited about baseball season getting started. Pitchers and catchers will all report in the next 4 days, and then all the position players will report next week. And pretty soon we'll be hearing the crack of the wooden bat and the pop of the catcher's mitt. So we hope everybody enjoys the first weekend of college baseball wherever you are at the Division I level. Get out to some of them spring training games if you're in Florida or Arizona, and we'll come back in a little bit before the season starts with our preseason baseball predictions. So we hope everybody has a good week. Join us next week at 11:30 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday morning. And everybody have a good week in sports. And so long for the United States Sports Academy.